Hello.
Can you tell me your names and what you guys do?
Yeah, so my name is Deran. I'm the founder of Black Therapist Rock. I'm a mental health professional, and I'm really passionate about spreading awareness to people who are not familiar or may not feel comfortable telling their story to a professional.
And I'm Matt Presbury, founder of Black Fathers, and work to create a support group and network for Black men raising their children, fighting to raise their children, and even young men who have yet to become fathers, to get an understanding of what is involved in raising children in this society, the importance of being there for your children, and that in combination with dealing with and overcoming barriers to raising your children, including racism in this society.
So why do you think representation is important and why?
For me, representation is important because if you've never seen it, you don't know what's possible. For example, last week I was talking to my son. I was telling him he's a really dope kid. He's 6. And I was telling him, like, you're going to be something really amazing, really great. And he was like, what? And I think visualization is really important too, like to the brain. We have to be able to see it in our mind before we can actually do it. So I was like, you're going to be something really important. He was like, what does that mean? I said, well, like the president of the United States. And he said, Mom, you can't be president of the United States. Only white people can do that. So even though we had a president of the United States who is black, because our freaking school system isn't showing him that, I have to do the work. I'm honored to do the work at home to show him, to literally show him and introduce him to his mind that he can be whatever he wants to be. So representation is everything, actually.
For me, my take on it is that it's crucial, it's critical. As both an educator and a parent myself, I understand really deeply the importance of representation and how much it means to our children, but also how much it means to us as fathers to see other men who look like us doing these sorts of things. One example I pointed out yesterday was The Cosby Show is one of the very few examples where there was a positive black father in the home, married man raising his children, and so many people used to say that The Cosby Show was fake because that wasn't their reality. They didn't see those sorts of things. So that's why we need more of that representation, but not only in a fictional sense, but in a real sense, to see real men that they can actually touch and say, okay, now I get it, because my father is not there. Doesn't mean that all fathers have abandoned their children and this sort of thing. And that also goes into the greater society, where there are a lot of misconceptions, perceptions, stereotypes about us. So the way that we combat that, you can't unlearn biases, you can't unlearn stereotypes, but all you can do is learn more information that counters that narrative and works to shatter those stereotypes.
So what does success look like to you? Like what's an example of what success would be?
Yeah. For me, it's creating opportunities for us to heal together. Like, I feel like our ancestors, were always together. They did everything together. They tried to, as much as possible, stick together and were ripped apart. And now creating those situations where we can all come back together and love each other and encourage each other and really just, tell our stories and understand that our stories are not just my story. My story is your story. Like, really, that unity and that community that we need to truly heal.
For me, success is creating a network where we as men continue to come together, to work together, to build, to be there for our families. That's really the biggest thing. Strengthening the father helps strengthen the household, and strengthening the household helps strengthen our communities and makes us all stronger by doing so. So that's the idea, to be able to strengthen our families, our communities, and those organizations that already work to do that work, for us to be able to provide them funding and help them do what it is that they do.
Okay, so my last question, if there's one book or one thing to read or watch that you would recommend to people who are trying to change their own narrative, what would it be?
Wow. There's so many for me. Like, I love books. I wrote our first book. It's called Black Therapist Rock, and it's all about through the eyes of professionals, like mental health, from our own personal stories, not just us as professionals, but us as human beings. So, like, I'm really into writing and reading. Another one that comes to mind for me is The Alchemist. because it's something like very spiritual that I believe in is important. Like dreaming and believing and having faith, you know, and not being able to always see things, but just knowing that somehow it's going to come together and work out for our good, you know. Like I'm a big dreamer and I believe in possibilities. Because that would be the one word.
The one thing that comes to mind for me is the other West Moore. So not only the book in which he talks about how choices shape your life and making those choices can lead you in one direction or the other, which I think is hugely important. It's about really taking action and positive actions to shape not only your path, but other people around you. And then even beyond the book, his work and his life is about reaching back to other people and helping them to change their narrative, but he reminds them constantly about how your choices can shape your life. So, you know, for us, one thing that we relate to in terms of choices is making the choice to solve the problems that we see versus sitting around and just complaining about it. So I think that's huge to understand, and it's a choice that you make. You can either watch what goes down and you can sit and you can complain about it and it'll keep happening, or you can choose to take action and do something about it to change it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.